Hi, I'm Dawn Montefusco, life coach for writers and creatives, and this is Write Your True Story, how to use your story to grow your business, inspire millions, and leave a legacy. And today we have a very special guest, Tamara Laporte. She's a creative catalyst of thousands of beautiful people. She's a celebrated mixed media artist and art teacher who's been running her own creative business since 2008. Her work can be described as mixed media folk art with a focus on magical realism. It ranges from whimsical children's illustrations to a more stylized fantasy art. Love, mystery, innocence, hope, spirituality, kindness, and self-connection inspires her artwork. Symbolism and layering play a big part in her work. Her paintings often create healing themes, uplifting messages, and inspirational poetry. She believes that the act of creating art can be a gateway into healing and personal growth. Often, her art classes contain an element of self-development as well as learning art techniques. She's deeply devoted to helping people get in touch with their creative fire and would love to help you too get in touch with the artist in you. I love reading that. Hi, Tam.
Hello.
That's great. So you do a lot of online classes. You have a wonderful life book class. Just tell us a little more about what you do and any projects you're working on right now.
Yeah, okay. Well, thanks for having me. So well, as you said, I'm a mixed media artist and an online art teacher. And a lot of my classes have an underlying personal development element or a healing element. Well, the biggest thing that I run is Lifebook, like you just mentioned, and it's been going for 7 years now. We're in the 7th year.
Wow.
That course is a year-long course that includes guest teachers as well, and it's called Lifebook because it sort of looks at your life, if you will, and you work through issues that you may have in your life, and by the end of the year you bind all the pages that you create into a book, so Lifebook. But it's mixed in with also creative, like lots and lots and lots of creative exercises and learning how to paint and to create faces and characters and all sorts of paintings mixed in with some of the personal development stuff. So that's kind of most of what I do.
Excellent, excellent. I love it. I love that you inspire people to use mixed media. I think that that's really important. We've got a lot of writers on the show, and I'm a writer, but I find that even when I'm working with clients, they have a desire to tell their story in different ways.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And well, tell us a little bit about how you sharing your story over the years when you were developing your business, how really being vulnerable and authentic helped you to attract the tribe that you now work with.
Oh, right. Okay. So it's funny because vulnerability and authenticity has been with me actually from a young age. Like, and I found not just in business only, but also in life that it's, I actually not to use it as a trick. I didn't, not as a sort of a manipulative thing, but what I mean is I noticed very quickly that if I was, let's say, in a new group of people and everyone was nervous and worried about getting to know each other, I remember always being the first to say something about how awkward I felt, something like that. So I would say something like, oh, well, this is a bit weird, or I'm feeling a bit nervous here. And instantly you could feel the room relax because someone was honest and open about what everyone else was feeling.
Yeah.
And it's just something that I've loved doing as a way to, because I knew that basically everyone was like me. So instead of sort of setting myself up as I know everything and I'm the one to be admired here or something, I enjoyed kind of sharing myself openly so that I knew that I would relax people, actually. And through that, connect better as well. So from a young age, and I don't kind of know where this came from, because you need a bit of courage, right, for that. And I actually had not a great childhood. I was like bullied a lot, and maybe that's where it also came from, in the sense that I knew that being uncomfortable or feeling scared wasn't a fun thing. So I empathized maybe with that. So perhaps when I felt more secure and more confident later on, because my behavior, you know, that thing that I just described, where I would share myself authentically, was when I was maybe late teens, so 18, 19 years old, when I first really started doing that more with a bit more confidence or something, you know what I mean? But so that never left me. And I always felt that, I don't know, it created more connection in my life. And it created just more something about truth and reality or realness, and I didn't find that so scary. I enjoyed it, and I knew that I could trust that other people were in a similar situation, you know. So when I went into running my business, I never really lost that. I never really felt the need to go, I must come across as a glossy, you know, I don't know, glossy something. Yeah. And because, of course, okay, I am in the business as well of personal development anyway, where also authenticity and honesty and kind of self-connection is kind of helping, you know, helps people. I also wanted to demonstrate that anyway as part of my teachings, you see?
Excellent.
So,
Excellent.
yeah, so that became a part of it. And I just have found that I mean, I've always been quite a public person when it comes to the internet. I started blogging quite early on, in 2002 or something, quite on Life Journal, like early on. And even then I would share just what was there for me, both art, but also just my life and things that I was going through. And I just found that it got positive responses in the sense of people would understand my story and see themselves in that. And then eventually, that was blogging, so I wasn't working in the business that I was in now, but eventually I just continued being public. So I'm fairly public on my blog and on social media, and I share what's there for me, and I think it just speaks to people somehow. Maybe there's something about trust there as well. I think authenticity creates trust, and then trust also helps people come then to your business, you know, want to know more about you, want to see what you're selling or teaching or whatever else. So does that make answer your question?
Totally. Yeah. Makes so much sense. I wonder, do you think it's, I don't know, is it easier as an artist to express yourself more authentically? I feel like we're all artists. I do believe that we're all very creative, at least. We all have different ways to be creative. But in some ways we get stunted as we get older. We feel that we have to present a certain way. And being an artist, do you feel that you have a little bit more permission to express yourself and be yourself than, say, someone who is, you know, running a business based around, oh, I don't know, running a computer company or something like that? Do you feel that you really nurtured this ability to be authentic through your creativity?
Yeah, I think for me personally that it's partially a yes, although if I'd stayed, before I was doing this as a full-time job, I was working in market research as a project manager. Yeah, I know. So not very, it was creative in certain ways, but not in the thing that I do now. I think that I still would have been a very authentic, open person, but I think that the creative side of it has helped, or perhaps it gives me more permission. So people sort of go, oh, it's an arty, I don't know, bohemian person, so we expect that from her. You know. That said, I also know quite a lot of artists who are quite private, and I think that but I think that creativity can help with this, is if you want to be more open and authentic. But I think the key ingredient for me is courage, and so I think it just requires some courage and a trust that you sharing yourself is not going to make you too vulnerable and too open to attack, because I think that's where the scary line lies. And I don't share everything, you know. I do share quite openly a lot of things about myself, but not everything, you know. That's some things that I feel maybe too vulnerable about, I'm not going to be sharing. But yeah, so I think that yes, that creativity and being an artist can definitely help with this. And even if someone was like, oh, I want to know how to share myself more authentically, I think creativity is a great tool to maybe explore yourself, you know, that sort of stuff. But I'm not saying that all artists are able to be authentic. You know what I
mean? Totally, totally. Do you feel, I'm getting the idea that for people who really do want to share more and they're feeling blocked, that exploring themselves through creativity, you know, having that private world of, wow, I guess, how would I express myself in multimedia? What if I was able to pick up, paints or draw, and I don't know how to draw, but what am I like underneath all that? That somehow that might help give them permission to actually understand more about themselves through art.
Completely. So you were talking before before you started recording about poetry as well. I love poetry for this. I'm a complete closet poet. So I don't publish my poetry, but I use it very privately for expressing my emotions, and usually the darker stuff, actually.
Yeah.
And the art stuff is more a lighter side for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I find for myself that all kinds of creative processes can be used for self-connection, self-reflection, and a more deeper understanding of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We were also talking, I think, before you recorded about, or maybe during, whatever, so let's say I like art and any kind of creativity for people who, let's say they might be stuck in, maybe they're in therapy and they have talking therapy. I find that if you then also have a creative process, that sometimes it accesses part of you that you can't access through other ways, such as talking therapy. So I find that, and for me, poetry does something different again than music, than art, and I love it because I have all these ways into me. I have pathways into me, talking as well, and then I just feel like I have a broader sense of understanding myself, and so for anyone who wants to try and be more authentically open towards the world, I would definitely recommend getting connected to self process. And it doesn't need to be even creativity. It could be meditation. I don't know, something else. But I find that creativity can definitely help open up new doors to understanding yourself better and therefore become more authentic
Yes. Excellent. Excellent. For people that have gone through deep struggle, and they want to share that story, because I think we're drawn to people who've overcome big adversities in their lives. Do you feel that being creative about your struggle and being able to just kind of open up to yourself in the darker places gives you an avenue on how you might then use that to present and inspire others? That going into those dark places, you don't necessarily have to share them right away, but in that process, you might be inspired to share.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, it's funny that you talk about this, because I was literally just wanting to do a Facebook update, which literally said something along the lines of, I think most of my problems have come from resisting uncomfortable feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Like very literally. And I think that, and it's only since a sort of, I've been, in therapy in and out for years now, but it's only since about a year, and I've known this intellectually, but since about a year that I'm practically sitting and allowing, and in fact, even going into, like walking towards my uncomfortable, unpleasant emotions. And not because I'm a masochist, because of course we would, want to experience this. But I find that if I repress them, deny them, or run away from these emotions, they are lingering, repressed, or they're sitting there and they have not been given the attention that they need. And the moment I go, okay, look, I'm going to look you square in the eye here, it's not necessarily comfortable, but number one, they dissipate more easily. And number two, I get to know myself again much better. I could get to heal stuff from possibly that is connected to childhood things. Yeah. So back to what you're saying, if you're going through deep struggle, as hard as it is, because I'm not in any way, I'm the number one avoider of hard emotions. Okay, so I'm not going, it's easy. Just feel your horrible, dark feelings. Of course not, but I've started to see more and more. This seems to be the key thing almost to getting like relief, healing, understanding, is to, and possibly with the support, obviously, of a wonderful therapist or a friend or family, to be with these darker emotions and then get to heal them, sit with them, understand them, and then possibly share them to help others or inspire others or something.
Yeah, no, I love it. Have you ever have you ever been afraid to share a particular story that when you did, it turned out that more and more people were attracted to you and attracted to your business, and you thought, wow, I'm glad I shared that, but at first it was a little bit scary?
Yeah, there must be, and I'm trying to think, because I do share quite a bit. I was going, yeah, there must have been one. What?
Maybe when you were first starting out as an artist? as a business and an
Yeah,
artist?
yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, even to, I mean, even though it's not, it becomes less scary over time, I will say, because like right now I'm so used to the variety of responses I get as well. So I'm trying to think of, see, I'll share things like, I don't know, I mean, I've written a book recently, right? And I was already beforehand thinking, oh no, what about all the terrible reviews it might get? Because I'd seen other people write books and then they got horrible reviews on Amazon. And I was hesitant to share my worry about this because I thought, well, people could think, are you thinking that your book is not good enough? Right? So sharing your sensitivity about it could mean, so I was like, is that a smart idea to share that I'm worried about negative reviews? Why would I even assume I get negative reviews? See, all this sort of internal,
Yes.
right? And then I did share when I had my first 2-star review, but only one. I got it and I was like, oh my God. Walk into the pain, walk into the pain. And then I shared, so anyway, that was before the 2, but I shared that with people and said, I'm really worried. Oh no, I did share. And I said, okay, I had my first review. First of all, I did 2 things. The first one was, guys, I'm really vulnerable moment here. I'm feeling very worried about, what kind of reviews I might get. And then everyone was loving. I don't know if more people loved me than before, per se. I think it helped. I think people enjoy it.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
And then when the 2-star review did come in, I shared it with people and I said, oh, okay, I've survived it and stuff like that. I survived it. And then I did ask, I said, but if any of you want to leave a good positive response, and then they did as well. So yeah, so that might be an example. Again, I didn't measure, obviously, I can't measure exactly the impact of that it had. But I know from the response on social media that people gave like a lot of feedback and positive feedback and support and that kind of stuff. So there's a possible example, but I've shared more things like that over the years, all sorts of things about maybe when I'm feeling low, because the other thing that I find frustrating sometimes is when I feel anything, if you have a large following, any message you get, any message you put down, you'll get a variety of responses, right? It'll always, and it's a spectrum. And some are very advisory and some are just empathic, and it's great. And you need to be willing to just accept that you're going to get different responses.
Yeah.
And sometimes I stop myself from sharing. I think, I don't know if I want to deal with these type of responses or these type of responses. But I've come to be okay. Again, you need to sort of build your stamina or your acceptance around the kind of responses that you can get. And yeah, I don't know. I think for me, I know for sure that my authentic sharing and being honest and where I feel insecure is inspiring to people.
Yes. And I love that you brought up the 2-star review, because I think as writers and artists and creatives, we put ourselves out there and just being human, we could get 1,000 great reviews and we will stick on that one little one. But what I really want to get across to people is we don't even realize the ripple effect on how many more people we inspire. Yeah. And you are a great example of that because you have a huge following. And I think that you putting yourself out there and being such a real person and being willing to be vulnerable, even by telling us that you were worried about a 2-star review, it made me go, oh yeah, even when you're at that level, we still hook onto that. And I think what's great about us all being in a tribe and helping each other is to remember the big difference we make in the world by sharing our life's work.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm sure you've gotten that from some of your students. I mean, have you any stories you want to share about your students that go, wow, I had no idea the effect I was going to have on others?
Oh yeah. No, I get that all the time. I mean, to the point that I'm in tears. Like even today, I got a message from someone who said, I've gone through really, really hard times. And the one thing that keeps me grounded and happy is I just put one of your videos on and I listen to your voice, that sort of stuff. And I'm like,
wow,
touching. And these messages I get a lot, and I almost don't know what to do with the responsibility. Almost I go, oh my God, oh, okay, all right. I feel like overwhelmed by that type of feedback. And people say, I don't know, I don't know you, but you don't know me. But if I feel like I know you and you're helping me so much with all sorts, because my messages go.
That was the angel.
Yeah, emphasizing it. It's I'm very blessed when it comes to the lovely people that let me know, how what I send out is helpful and that they love it and that it's, meaningful to them. And a beautiful thing for me is when I see the physical life books in real life. I make my own. And then, of course, I'm teaching online, so I don't see many people in person that have made their life books. So when I went to teach in person in Australia at Jane Davenport's house, several people had brought in the life books that they'd made over the years. And I was literally sitting there in tears going, I cannot, this is amazing. They've done it as I thought it up. Surprised that, oh, you did it, like my idea, you did my idea. And it's such an honor and so humbling and so amazing at the same time that someone, I don't know, took on of course they would, but why not, but it's such a weird thing, was such a beautiful and weird thing to see in person, to see actual books that people read. And so I've seen a couple now, and every time it's like a sacred thing for me, because it's like, I had an idea, I went, let's try this. And then people in Australia and everywhere else just went, okay, really? Okay, great. This is, it's amazing.
It started from you doing a life book, correct?
No, I just made it up, the concept of it. So
yes.
It started from me, and then we did it together, right? So the first year course, I guided people how to make a life book, and then they did it. I know,
oh my gosh. That's like a tangible way, literally a tangible way to explain, how when you're authentically and vulnerably sharing your story was, hey, let's try this and let's make a life book of our stories, of who you are privately. And then that ripples out, and who knows who they showed it to and how it affected so many other people. I think that's just really, truly amazing. We were talking a little bit before we got on to recording about how we also gravitate toward people who've overcome struggle, who've really, gone through the muck and they've come out the other side. And if they hadn't shared that, we wouldn't have the hope that perhaps we could get over our struggles. What do you think it is about people overcoming struggle that as human beings, we just gravitate towards their authenticity, their vulnerability to just talk about what they went through?
Well, I think it's because we all struggle, right? We all do. So we relate to that. And it wouldn't be, you relate less to a person that goes, I've never struggled. Everything came easy to me. Start and all these amazing cars and houses or whatever, or a partner or children, and nothing ever happened. It's fine. You're like, okay, good. I'm going to go to the next one. Awesome. I don't know that. So, I suppose you just really see yourself in that person. And so because you see that's yourself, possibly some of it in that person, you then also think, well, if they can do it, maybe I can do it. And there's also something very inspiring about knowing that someone struggled and then found a way to feel. I like to add in that I think people who struggle and then come out of the other side. I had another interview the other day, we talked about the hero story. Mm-hmm. I'd like to emphasize that I don't think I'm out on the other side. I am in still waters.
Yes.
Currently. Right? And I grow. So I develop and grow and become somewhat more aware, so I would say if there's a ladder of some sort, and I think I'm become more aware of myself, of how I function, and possibly spiritually or emotionally stronger or something. I don't think I'm at a point of something that is an end, like a goal. I think that we come in spirit, sort of still waters, and then maybe another storm comes again, right? So I just want to let that in. Yeah. Because I think, we were talking about Byron Katie and those people, maybe they are now at their final, yes, I've made it to some sort of still point. I don't know. But for me, I'm not I don't know. I think that there'll be another kind of little blip that I'm going to deal with, but I feel stronger in my dealing with the blips. So that's sort of my aim about these things. Anyway, you asked me how...
why people are drawn to it, because I think what happens is when people are feeling a standstill in their businesses, and we're talking coaches, writers, artists, speakers, personal development people who really want to help others, a lot of times they'll find this stalling. There's a stalling in their work or their business, literally. Like they're just not getting the clients, the customers. They don't know why. And I feel that when they actually open up, you know, you'll see someone just open up about how they've been struggling and how things have been getting better, and how they've been moving through that. And then all of a sudden their business actually grows. All of a sudden they're attracting people to them. So
I think it, sorry. I think it clears blocks, actually.
Yes. Oh, wow.
I think it just clears blocks. So if you are stuck and you're keeping it in and you're not sharing, you're almost doing this almost. You're getting a rigidity. The moment you start to go, you speak your truth, it comes out, right? It's a flowing of things. So I think and then if you open, in other words, if we just literally use the metaphor of your door is closed, so things are stuck, your energy is stuck, your emotions are stuck, your sharing is stuck, you open doors to share, energy can flow out and can come back in. So then I think it's an openness. So I think it supports being open.
I love that analogy. That's probably the best. That's the best visual. And I think people can feel it. And I think that's spot on right there. You nailed it. That the more that we share and we open up those floodgates, people can get in. And people want to get in, right? They want to connect.
Yeah, they do. And everyone loves seeing the humanity in others, you know? Maybe that's what you were saying earlier. What is it that people are attracted to in people that share their struggle with? Maybe it's the humanity aspect. So they see themselves, their own humanity reflected in others and vice versa. I think also personally that is attractive, you know, to see, oh, wow, how we're all kind of made of the same stuff and we all struggle. And then someone is able to, wow, they did something and it meant that they could go that way and I can maybe utilize that or slightly, use that differently and go this way. And so, I don't know, I think it even points towards like the oneness and the connectedness of all of us, you know, that we're all connected, all going through similar things. I love that saying, which is be kind to everyone, because everyone is fighting their own struggle, fighting a similar war or something, or fighting a war. In other words, you know, everyone has struggles of some sort, and everyone can relate, and it's a connected, you know, feel more closely connected to each other.
Absolutely.
And that's inspiring in and of itself, I think.
You've worked with tens of thousands of people. For someone out there who is feeling contracted, who's feeling that they want to share their story, they know they have a story to tell, and they're not really sure whether they're going to do it on social media, if maybe they want to write a book, maybe they just want to share it on their website. Do you have any advice on how they can get started? Just started in terms of opening up that gate to start to share.
I mean, I would start with self-connection. You know, really what we described earlier, which is just the first starting point. You know, this is the gateway towards yourself. So see what it is that you're actually wanting to share, what you feel comfortable with sharing, what like get closer to yourself initially. Look at that and either use a creative process or whatever to understand what's going on. Feel all the feelings, right? And
feel all the feels.
Feelings, including the horrible ones. I know it sounds so awful. Like I keep thinking, oh, it sounds masochistic. But anyway, it's so that they can flow out of you again. Same story. If you resist and they stay stuck. And then to share, I mean, you could even start, if you wanted to start baby steps, right? Write, if you're a writer, I don't know if how you're going to do it, but write. And you could at first simply have a private blog. So if you feel scared, just go private first so that you're expressing, but you're not sort of sharing with everyone yet, right? And then you might at some point go, I'm going to send it to my friend or my neighbor, see what they think or something. So that if you're scared about it and you want to see, dip your toe in the water first, rather than going, everyone, here's my first blog about, I don't know, something really, really personal. I would just gently start it off that way. You can do, you can change your settings to just private or something. And then you could slowly build that up and just see how brave you feel and set that up. Or you can also maybe have a little, if you have friends, you know, like a little friend group, and just, if it's not writing, you could just share and see, I just want to try, see how I feel, you know, someone you really trust, or even with therapists. I mean, although they're already kind of quite boundaried and that you know that they won't share, I suppose. So maybe with a close friend or something. So I'd say first self-connection, then if you like feel ready to share, maybe start with privately or with a friend, and then you can slowly branch out and see how you feel.
That's awesome. In terms of what I'm getting, what I've noticed just recently, and I have not picked up anything other than a typewriter or a keyboard and a pen, I've started to doodle. I've started to get, sketchbooks, just to get my brain to stop thinking so linearly. Yeah. And I'm noticing that by using different modalities to just express a feeling that I don't necessarily know how to express, can start to open up these other avenues. Have you had that experience with your students even, where a different kind of media led to them feeling more comfortable about themselves sharing a story?
You know, it's funny because on the courses that I run, of course, we do quite a lot of different approaches. I mean, I incorporate a bit of poetry in my lessons as well, here and there, not always, and also the different types of art that we create. So painting, but I also we'll have doodling, and we'll have just mandala making, for instance. So that's so varied that yeah, the answer is effectively yes to your question, that you can see that certain ways of creating speak more to people, and they feel that they can connect or express something specific to them more with a particular technique than with another one. And because there's guest teachers, for, like I'm just talking about Lifebook now, guest teachers as well, who all have such different techniques. We bring in encaustic painting or something with wax, or it's Tombow markers me, or acrylics only, or pastels or something. And this year, in fact, we're bringing in also writers and clay and all that sort of stuff. And I mean, I can't think of anyone specific who's gone, oh my God, the photography lesson was the thing that made it all the difference for me. But I know that it does. And for me personally, I know that I can find specifically, music. I do music, sing, and also art.
I know you do. I listen to some of your songs.
And then I do a bit of poetry for myself, which is very much private. Like I keep it private even, because it's not intended for like a consumption, if you will. It's totally for me when I'm going, okay, this is painful. Right. And I write, and it comes out that way. So I get something very different from writing poetry than I get from singing, than I get from art making. So yeah, but I know for sure that the different creative avenues provide different things for different people in so many ways. And I wanted to emphasize actually what you were saying, that thing about the doodling and the coloring, and including painting, if it's just colorful, anything, just doesn't have to be specific, that it also tends to switch off that part of the brain that is much more analytical. The left brain closes down, the right brain, creativity, and that tends to light up, right? And it's so nice because you can calm down the over chatty one. And so I was going to say that's very meditative, and it's great to kind of notice your feelings through that process more than if you're stuck in the left brain.
Yes. I'm going to ask a very obvious question, but I want to say it to everyone so that they really understand the meaning to this.
Yeah.
Would you be where you are today if you chose not to share any of your personal stories?
Oh, no. No. I don't know. No.
Yeah.
It's all part of it. It's, for me in specific, it's all part of it, because even my art, people say, what is your art about? It's like, I'm recreating my childhood. Like already this is already very personal. My childhood wasn't great. Most of my art is a recreation of my childhood. I want there to be safety and happiness. Okay, that's already very personal here. I could say, oh, it's just birds and girls. I never know. That would be me not sharing. Or say, I leave it up to the viewer. So fine, could also be successful, but I think it adds a huge dimension to my to me and my business and my work, that people know, like, can find out that that's what I do, or that's what's happening there for me, and that I'm growing, and why am I growing, and what's happening for me here, and why I'm feeling secure about that, and what all of that. And you see that art journaling aspect is also, so I create paintings, but I also art journal, right? So it's a combination of writing and painting and sitting with my feelings. So it's all very personal. It's all very personal stuff. I couldn't even do the job really without being somewhat authentic. And also I could say, okay, I've written some personal stuff here, but I'm not letting you know what it's about.
Totally.
But I think it adds dimension tremendously.
Yes. Yes. You're a great inspiration in a way, in this major way, which is to be yourself, to really just celebrate who you are. And even though we're so unique, you said earlier, we're human and we connect on that human level, but we also, I think we're here to help everyone, to encourage everyone to celebrate who they are as a person on earth.
Yeah, we're doing that. It's so funny that you mentioned art, because look, I made this. This is a little
I love it.
You know what this is about? I'll show you authentically what this is about. So this lesson is up next week, and the whole theme of the lesson is that we are celebrating our supposed imperfections and quirks, because it's a quirky bird, you see? And, yeah, you see? And my supposedly imperfection is that I've been told that I'm in the past for some people I'm too loud and too extravagant and too colorful. So, and that's been really painful for me, because I'm like, oh God, yes I am. I'm so sorry. I should stop talking, and be not be so out there. And this is me doing the opposite here. I'm celebrating and embracing my loudness and colorfulness by having all these rainbows and colors there and being very quirky. So
I love it so much. And by the way, I've been criticized way too many times for being loud, and I really slowly was like, my mother used to say I was too much, so that was a hurting thing.
Yeah, similar.
And I started saying, I'm as much as I'm supposed to be.
Yes,
and
exactly.
So good for you. I love the quirky bird. I'll think of that forever.
Thank you. Yeah. And then, it's like a healing, and it's meant to intend, it's healing. And so this lesson is like to get people in touch with whatever their perceived imperfection is, so that they can then also honestly and authentically connect with themselves and go, oh, I've been told that I don't know, I can't wear high heels because I'm too old for it. We're wearing high heels, and we're going to put high heels on the quirky bird. You see, that's
fantastic. Well, you have a great free gift. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the free gifts you're offering?
Yes. So I'm giving away a free lesson from Lifebook. That was the Lifebook lessons from 2016, the first lesson, which was like the big sort of we're starting again, and it's called The Happy Traveler.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and you can. I think you'll put information in here, but
I'll have all the information.
Okay, they need to use the code HAPPY to be able to get it for free. So
excellent.
It's a lesson about how to create one of the mixed media girls that I make, and it has an animal that comes with you. Actually, it's two animals, an owl and an elephant in my case. But it comes with the meditation as well, so you can then sit with and see what your animals are. And it's an enjoyable lesson that I've loved sharing with people. So I hope you enjoy it.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be fabulous. I can't wait to do it. It's going to be awesome. Thank you, Tam, so much. This was such a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and I can't wait to do more with you in the future. And everybody just go to her website and check it out. You will not be disappointed.
Okay, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Bye.